Prime Minister Philip J. Pierre asserted Friday that a controversial tax administration bill currently circulating originated under the previous Alan Chastity administration, despite accusations it was proposed by Pierre's government. Addressing reporters, Pierre said the draft legislation aims to consolidate 12 existing tax laws into a single bill, an initiative that began with a 2020 directive from Chastity, who was then Prime Minister and Finance Minister.
First and foremost, I want to make it clear that the draft bill in circulation was initiated during the term of the United Workers' Party administration, as evidenced by Cabinet Conclusion number 1511 of 2020. The Cabinet Conclusion reads, and I quote, "Cabinet considered a memorandum dated 13th November 2020, submitted by the Department of Finance, and approved the request for creation of the Tax Administration and Procedures Act to harmonize the administrative, collections, and penal provisions of the various pieces of legislation that are currently administered by the Inland Revenue Department."
Pierre distributed a 2020 memo from Chastity's Finance Ministry directing officials to draft legislation harmonizing tax rules.
By memo dated November 3rd, 2020, December 3rd, 2020, from the Ministry of Finance, Economic Growth, Job Creation, External Affairs, and Public Service, headed by the former Prime Minister, states, "The Department of Finance wishes to inform the Cabinet by conclusion number 1511 of 2020, considered a memorandum dated 13th November 2020, submitted by the Department of Finance and approved the request for creation of the Tax Administrative Procedures Act to harmonize the administrative, collections, and penal provisions of the various pieces of legislation that are currently administered by the Inland Revenue Department. The aforementioned is for your attention and necessary action."
Pierre made it abundantly clear that he has not yet seen the full text of the draft bill generated from Chastity's instructions to technocrats. Pierre explained while his administration believes in streamlining tax laws, his government has not subscribed to punitive measures but helping citizens settle back taxes and provide income tax relief to the poor.
The cabinet that I lead has never seen the draft bill now in circulation. It is clear, and it's my understanding, is that consistent with our approach of transparency, dialogue, and open government, the draft bill prepared on instruction from the former Prime Minister is open for public discussion. My government's policy on tax is clear. We have increased the tax threshold to $24,000, meaning that anyone who earns $2,000 and less per month pays no income tax. My government has given the most generous tax amnesty in the history of St. Lucia, where all forms of fines, penalties, and interest have been cancelled on all outstanding tax arrears, including VAT.
During Friday's press conference, Pierre was at pains in explaining how a draft bill is prepared and undergoes public consultation before coming to Cabinet and Parliament for debate. He indicated that public scrutiny is part of the process, but took issue with opposition suggestions that the bill was proposed by his administration, which he argues is patently false. The Prime Minister said the technocrats were simply following the orders of the former regime in 2020, which predated his administration taking office in July 2021. Joachim Duplessis, HTS News Force.